Hello, welcome to the Sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Standard Open in Richmond, part of the SCG Tour, brought to you by Ultimate Guard. I'm Nick Miller alongside Syed. How you doing, sir?
Great. Doing pretty well.
You were mixing it up this weekend. Now, if people paid attention to the standings last week in Columbus, you had a heartbreaking 9th place finish with green-white tokens. You're doing something completely different this week, and you're off to a 7-1 start after 8 rounds now.
Yep. I mean, it was unfortunate I didn't make it on tiebreakers, but I really thought that green-black took off, so Voldaren Pariah was the perfect answer.
Right, so you've audible to the Black-Red Zombies deck, a deck that sort of existed a few standards ago, you know, back when people were trying to do the Emerge stuff and all that.
Yep.
This deck was kind of a thing, but now you don't really have the Emerge package outside of just Distended Mindbender, but you're just playing this Black-Red, grindy, graveyard value deck.
Yeah, losing Smuggler's Copter was the biggest thing, but it's picked up in other ways. Fatal Push is the main thing that broke the deck because it pairs really well with Insolent Neonate and Voldaren Pariah.
So you kind of get to play this control, like you can kind of shoot down creatures here and there when you need, and then you can set up these flips with Voldaren Pariah to just kind of clean out the other opponent's creatures.
Yep, exactly. It's just a better Avacyn right now.
Okay, and you know, with the shift to black-green, you said this is kind of the reason you went to this deck, and it has a pretty good matchup there?
Yep, exactly. That basically is, yeah, that's basically the core reason you hit it right on the dot.
All right, so let's go over the cards. We have, you know, Insolent Neonate and Crypt Breaker at the 1-drop slot, both kind of enabling madness and also allowing you to get value out of your graveyard.
Yep.
Scrap Heap Scrounger. And we've got Prized Amalgam, which notably you cannot cast in this deck. This is probably my favorite part of these decks. You cannot cast, but you get them back with many other ways.
Exactly. I mean, I'm taking a risk by playing only 22 lands, so I thought it would be too greedy to play Spire Bluffs, but I think I might take the gamble next time I play the deck.
Okay. Of course, you get to bring back the Amalgam with either Scrap Heap Scrounger or Haunted Dead here allows you to bring it back as well, along with getting a 2/2 and a 1/1 flyer.
Exactly.
Which notably sets up the Pariah pretty well, correct?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. So what are we normally doing in the games? Are we kind of getting off to an aggressive start, or are we just kind of filling around? How's the gameplay work? So
the deck takes 2 angles. Definitely it goes aggressive, or it goes controlling the board until you play Voldaren Pariah to wipe their whole board. But most of the time, you just overwhelm them with a horde of zombies.
As zombies do.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we have the 1 Distended Mindbender along with 1 in the sideboard. I mean, this card notable because it hits both halves of the Saheeli combo, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible in the matchup. I don't think I've ever lost against Saheeli. This card just absolutely wrecks them. Especially when they're holding it up, trying to play it on turn 6. You play yours on turn 4, it's just game over.
That's got to be a pretty good feeling.
Yep.
Removal spells, Fiery Temper, works of course with the Madness, Fatal Push, which is the new hotness, and then Lightning Axe kind of gives you these enablers as well while being a removal spell. What's this kind of looking for? Gear Hulks and stuff like that?
Lightning Axe hits the combo, most importantly. Second of all, hits Gear Hulk while the triggers are on the stack. And thirdly, hits Kalidas, which is one of the scariest cards.
Right, that's like the backbreaker of this deck.
Definitely, and it's pretty much non-existent in the green-black shells.
Sure, and you know, along with Lightning Axe, I guess you still have a chance to kill it with Fatal Push, because you can manage to get cards from into your graveyard, I imagine.
Yep. Fatal Push has definitely been the best card for this deck from the new set.
Okay. Then we have Cathartic Reunion, which just that hyper engine for this deck. And then Key to the City, another card that's been getting a lot of play out of a lot of decks just because it kind of enables this value extra card engine along with being able to push through damage.
Yeah, basically with Key to the City you can create virtual card advantage by using the madness spells like Fiery Temper and Voldaren Pariah, and also Scrap Heap Scrounger and Prized Amalgam, because when it untaps, obviously you can pay 2 mana and draw a card, and you get the effect of the madness cards, of course.
Sure. Then during your upkeep, you get to pay the mana if you want and draw the card.
Yeah.
So nothing but extras there. So the main deck looks pretty solid. Let's move on to the sideboard here where you have the extra Mindbender, and then you have a bunch of other stuff kind of going on. Chandra and some Transgress the Minds to start us off.
Yep. So Chandra and Transgress the Minds have been absolutely wonderful, especially against the control decks. Transgress I think is the best sideboard card. I am playing 4 of those, so definitely, I would definitely recommend that if you're playing any black deck this weekend.
Now we have Collective Brutality, another card that kind of enables your graveyard while also pulling double duty against the Saheeli decks. I saw trying to put cards in your graveyard. You get to take a counter spell or take a removal spell.
Yeah.
Plus you know what you're playing around.
Yep. So the blue card. So when you're playing against a blue deck, one of the scariest things is Cathartic Reunion getting countered. So Collective Brutality is a good switch out because you can choose to discard cards or not to use the other modes. So Collective Brutality basically is a burn spell. It's a graveyard enabler. It's a kill spell, and it's a duress. That's exactly what you're looking for in this type of shell.
Can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah.
Now you said Cletus was bad for you on the other side. You have some Cletus of your own.
Yep, since we've gotten Fatal Push, Fire Temper, Lightning Axe, you already can see that we have 10 kill spells plus Voldaren Pariah. So having that many kill spells means that Kalitas is going to be absolutely amazing against creature-heavy decks.
Sure. Then we have Lost Legacy here, a card people are out of siding to try to beat specific decks. And then Release the Gremlins, another card that's seen an uptick in the sideboard. Not only the Colossus decks, but also just kind of hitting Ballista, Gearhulks, stuff like that.
Yep, exactly. Release the Gremlins is very, very good against Mardu vehicles. And it gets you some creatures which you can later on use with your Voldaren Pariah or just be aggressive.
Okay. So where do you see the standard format going if this deck kind of starts picking up to prey on the decks that did well last week?
Well, this deck, I see the green-black Delirium deck from last season coming back because it had access to Kalitas, and I think that with Fatal Push plus Kalitas and Ishkanaz, it can stabilize really well against the most popular deck, which is the green-black counters deck.
Okay.
So, yep, that's about it.
Now, you've played the deck for 8 rounds. You're doing very well with it. Is there anything you're kind of looking to change? Anything you want to try out going forward?
Definitely the Spire Bluffs. The other thing I wanted to try out was Glint Sleeve
Siphoner?
Siphoner. That card, I tried it out for a little bit, but I kind of chickened out because you get to play 4 Aether Hubs, which enable your prized amalgams, and Glint Sleeve is an engine on its own.
All right, we'll have to look out for that. Card did have made some waves last week in some of the green-black energy-based aggro decks.
Yep.
So I could definitely see it here. Well, you're crushing it. This deck looks good. A lot of people kind of predicted this deck could have an upswing this weekend. You're definitely showing why. Wish you the best of luck in round 9 and the rest of Sunday. So for Zan, Nick Miller here in the sideboard. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Richmond.